3, 2, 1. We are live. I have some prepared one. There we go. Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, Dylan.
Welcome to the Off Track podcast.
Welcome this morning.
Probably number 6, but who knows? Still celebrating the numbers.
We'll figure the numbers as we go because I have completely lost track with how much we're uploading. And how much they choose not to upload. But if you are starting a podcast, authorizing the YouTube page,
verifying,
huge.
Verifying, yes, huge. Verify your account.
It's huge.
Otherwise, you can't upload videos longer than 15 minutes because they think you're a robot.
Yeah.
And they think you're spam.
Well, they think you're Russia.
Russia or China.
Yeah.
I guess you could kind of pick either one. Absolutely. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo. Bienvenidos.
Oh yeah. What a day of celebration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish I knew more.
I think that's. I'll look that up first because I don't know much about it either. At all.
Yeah, it's in my head. It's their Independence Day, but it sounds so wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
you
like
know?
I bet it's.
It sounds so wrong. I know it's. And then Dia de los Muertos is completely different.
Yeah, that's like a celebration of like
of the
life
dead
and death.
Yeah,
and it's fairly new, I believe. I think there's a woman in Petaluma. I'll look that up after. Through Invention, I ended up at a guy's house, and his wife was not claiming, but she had a huge part to do with like the foundation blocks of like Dia los Muertos and Muertas in Petaluma and Runner Park in Santa Rosa, and like it was crazy. Her house was full of all this stuff that was like history for Petaluma in a way.
There's a lot of history around here.
Oh yeah,
isn't there?
It's really wild. Yeah, the Masonry brothers. If I don't know conspiracy with it. It put downtown Petaluma. There's like those what are those called? You use them on maps to do perfect circles and to measure distance. And stuff.
It's not a compass. A protractor. Okay. Yes.
It's like two protractors, and that's the Masonry symbol.
Yes. Okay.
For geometry and sustainability and autonomy. Their emblem, if like you go into the history of it, means such beautiful things. Autonomy is huge for me, and I have a Masonry, a ring. I always call them the Masonry brothers, but
and that's connected to Petaluma.
Yeah, they did a lot of the construction because it was like the Masonic Rite or the. Masonic Rite, bro.
You're Masonic Rite.
That's like a little bit back in the day. I'm getting crazy. I do have Cinco de Mayo up.
Okay, cool.
And I'll write down the.
Yes.
What are they called again? I always say Masonry Brothers, but they're actually called the.
Just write down the Masonry. I think just get it down, and then. We'll get it from there, you know?
Yeah. So the Cinco de Mayo, thank you.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo is an annual celebration held on May 5th. The date is observed to commemorate the Mexican Army's victory over the French Empire at the Battle of Puebla on May 5th, 1862, under the leadership of General Ignacio Zaragoza. And I guess 1912 we came right back and got ourselves our land.
So Mexico beats France in 1862.
In 1862.
And then we take the land back when?
About 1912?
1912.
Cinco de Mayo, so that's there. When the War of 1912. The Spanish War of 1912.
Oh, the Spanish War, because the Spanish War is different.
Then what? Then World War II.
Well, what I want to hear. What was the war called in 1912? Or like, how did we get that? We just bought it from them, probably. Actually,
it was a huge purchase.
Yeah. Some good treaties signed, I'm sure.
Dude, New York. Did you know New York was bought for like? There's a myth that it was bought for like 12 cents and like half a can or something like that. But it was really bought for the total of like $4,000 in the day. Yeah. And like some dude had like you get your check. He had that in his pocket, comparatively. Yeah. And then he was a Dutchman, shows up. I don't know know everything, but let's say I'm a Dutchman and got $4,000. I do know that. And he buys it from the natives for like nothing in that day, right? Yeah. And then fucking turns into Prince of Wales, and then Dutch and blah, good, bop, boop, boop, and now it's like New York, and it's just $4,000. Holy shit.
Talk about investments.
Yeah,
Talk
about getting on Amazon.
Yeah,
right.
Get on the stock market nice and early, folks. Get those fucking emails.
I'll just put in the War of 1912 because I bet I'm confused.
Yeah.
Because it's coming up with something from Canada.
Yeah.
It could be the War of 1812. And the Balkan Wars were in 1912. That would be up in the top of Canada, Russia, Serbia, Ottoman Empire, Kingdom of Bulgaria.
Any luck? We just get it in a treaty. I'm guessing. So what the 1862 though. So they just do we know? So some form of colonialism by the French.
By the French.
And being a history major, I feel like I have some duty to explain colonialism in one way or another. Absolutely. Or like imperialism, or essentially what was going on was you have. No, I think this was. I don't know, either one. When you have these large, powerful kind of nations come in and take advantage of the people. I need to relook this up, but it was either initially based off of lies about this want to spread religion, stuff like this, but it was normally always to like civilize the people in one way or another. It was to steal their resources.
Assimilate.
Yeah, it was to make them as white as possible. It's super interesting if you get into kind of further, just go into like colonialism in general with Christopher Columbus and his logs.
That's why I was working in the Dominican Republic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the first place he went.
Wow, that's a cool reason to like as the picking.
A huge part. Yeah, I was very lucky. It's why I went back, I should say. The first week I was there. My Lynn Maquette was like I said in the last episode, was kind of just
your mentor, right?
Yeah,
yes,
she was kind of like trying to pull me out of the muck and was like, you should go. You need to go to the Dominican Republic, get yourself together to get the money and see if your mom can help you. And I swear it would change everything, and it did. And then I came back and I think 2016, the end of 2016. It could have been 2017. But the year I came back, I was here home for like 8 months, and then I left again. And I had asked if I could work, if there's any work for me to do, and that's why I went back. I saw what was going on there, and I saw the history. The capital, the localized part of it is literally called Zona de Colonial.
I was gonna ask what you were able to notice as far as like how like what are they?
It's unbelievable.
And it's all sad, right? Or is it prideful?
Oh, on their side.
Yes, on their side. How does the Dominican Republic portray it based off?
I think it's a mixture of sad and then using what they got, because now it's like it's Zona Colonial and they got their hostels there and ecotourism, and tourism itself is a huge sector of the economy there. And I think that like there's like this aura of like, well, why don't we just make the money we can off of these areas and turn them into like tourism, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know a huge amount about the economy, but there's not like a hate. It's not like get out of here, white guy. It's like get out of here, Haitian. They want the Haitians gone because they're upset at Spain, and they're upset at France, and they're upset at at other countries aside from the United States. Maybe the United States is a little bit of like a good brother to them in their eyes. Because we got involved in the Dominican Republic in like 1922 or so, and we annexed them. We like bought them from Spain and gave them their freedom. So that's like a current. I'm sure that's a current memory. But when you go through, it's old buildings. Like there's like the Zona Colonial has like this huge fort that Christopher Columbus built, and then he left his brother there. Okay. And his brother was like the Duke or the mayor, whatever you would call it, of the area. And there's like this huge castle. And
how old are the buildings?
Very old.
Do they do a good job at restoring?
Yeah,
or like they keeping the preserving, maybe not restoring, but preserving.
Yeah, especially in Santo Domingo, the capital. All the buildings are fucking ancient. Like you go to San Francisco and it's kind of old. there it's like, what the fuck? How did you keep this shit up?
Yeah.
It's still standing. And I don't know if I don't know how much you're not looking at new Bondo, and you're not looking at these brand new doors and like, oh, well, obviously they went and replaced all the hangers. Like, it's just like still standing somehow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not many wars, not many destruction. A lot of places it's like someone comes through and just tears shit down.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Dominican Republic, it's kind of been protected. They love baseball. I bet they're other than the United States and the Dominican Republic are in the All-Star games like every year.
Yeah, being ignorant about baseball, it's the one thing you hear about is every single the best baseball players, they come from the Dominican Republic, you know?
Think about the heat, dude. They're like in the heat all day, the humidity, and they love the game. So they're just playing for their heart, you know, just to play. And then they're getting ripped, and they're conditioning in ways you can't condition here without that mask, and like you're wearing weights and stuff. They're just out.
Yeah, the elements.
Yeah, a lot of elements in their bio.
Yeah,
stuff.
Their surroundings. God, I got some quotes up here from Christopher Columbus, and it just makes you realize how much we knew we were. I say we. I wasn't fucking there. You weren't there. And like, you know, we're dealing with the decisions of our ancestors, which is what the present fucking is. You know, it's the sum of all this shit. But I read, there's this quote right here by Christopher Columbus. It says, "Each day we understand better what the Indians say, and they us, and so that very often we are intelligible to each other." I imagine this was in the beginning, you know? And like, think about how much quote-unquote misunderstanding we like to represent as happening. And you know it's bullshit. Like, that's one thing where it's you want to believe it. You want to believe the white people didn't know what they were doing. Yeah. You want to believe that like it was really as ignorant as maybe.
It was just the polio.
Yeah.
It was just the chicken pox.
Yeah.
That's what got them.
They got lucky. They got Christopher Columbus and his people got lucky that's what wiped them out. Otherwise, they would have had a lot more work to do.
For sure.
Single-handedly wiping out all these Native Americans.
They would have.
Not Native Americans.
Longer wars, you know. In Yucatan, the whole Golden Temple in the forest. Have you ever heard of that?
I have, but I don't know much about it. Yeah, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, like people went and saw it, like pirates, and then they go back to Spain or France or wherever, and then they couldn't make it back for 50 years. And in that time, the cities that they saw had gathered the chicken pox and the polio from the few people that were going up their canals and meeting them. And by the time anybody made it back to the forest, everyone had died off, or enough people had died off that they had to leave the cities and go off into different villages and stuff. And people came back and called him a liar. And then for the next like 250 years, nobody came back. And we had claimed that there's nobody living in the Yucatan, there's nobody in the Amazon. But now we keep going back with LiDAR. Do you know what LiDAR is? It's like laser technology.
Yes, and scanning the floors of the forest.
Fucking cool, dude. That shit's changing everything.
Yeah.
Because now we're like finding stuff.
And predictions, like, right, are coming true. Actually.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people, like they doubted, like you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were gone for 250 years. You should have come back, and people would just be like, "Oh, come on, man." But now it's literally like, well, there was stuff there at that time, and it's still there. They're finding this stuff, they call it like the Amazon tar or something, and it's like this concoction that they were making way like just so long ago, and it's like compost, and it's on the top layer of some of their dirt where they were farming. So they had figured out before Christopher Columbus, before any of that shit, they had figured out agriculture and like composting and like this stuff is like fuel for plants. You put like a microgram in something and it just fucking explodes. And other than that, you can't grow in the forest, in the Amazon. Because everything's so saturated. There's no sun. There's no sun like exposure. You're underneath the canopy. Yeah. A lot of, I mean, bugs. You know, like pests. You think about pests. It's crazy. That they're
one of the most natural environments in the world. Probably one of the most untouched things in the world. I feel like that's probably not true. I feel like the bottom of our oceans are more filled with random human objects, and I feel like our oceans are more impacted by people, especially due to plastic, than our forests are. Like, as much as the ocean is unexplored, it's not untouched.
Yeah, That's a good yeah.
Is one thing to say.
Yeah.
But our forests are often very like untouched, kind of, except for maybe pollution in some ways or another.
I see what you mean. Yeah, there's no current to bring that piece of garbage 500 miles.
Except through the clouds.
Wind
and clouds, like maybe through water pollution.
Trees and shit.
Yeah.
That's totally true. Very localized.
Yes.
Things have to move more. The water, man, it breaks stuff down. In Fukushima, I guess I was watching this thing, and there's still a lot of leaking going on at the plants that were
What's
hit.
Fukushima?
It was
sounds like a nuclear reactor if
I
were to guess.
I think it's the town the nuclear
can't spell
reactor
Fukushima
was
without Fuk.
and like a tidal wave came, it was a tsunami, and it killed a lot of people, and it like blew up the Fukushima power plant, and like people had to move. It got into the oceans, and now it's circulating in the ocean streams because it's leaking yearly out of so it floods in the compound, and then the compound fills up with 400 gallons or 400 million gallons of clean water that just poured in from the ocean. After it reaches the facility, now it's contaminated. It's full of mercury. It's full of all the gross shit. And they have to grab all of that water, put it in barrels, and they have like 10,000 barrels on this like little compound, and they're just filling up barrels of nuclear water. 400 gallons a day. Just filling up barrels. And I think it's like 400,000 gallons a day, because I mean it's a huge facility.
Yeah.
And that's happening like today.
And we often get those numbers wrong. Like it's hard to imagine gallons.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. With Deepwater Horizon, the company was claiming that they were releasing 60,000 gallons a day or some shit. In the 78 days it took to close the leak, they were leaking up to 4 times that. And they were allowed, and they were telling the public, the community, the science, that this is how much is leaking. Use these numbers to tell us what we need to do. And it's like, okay, well, we told you to do a quarter of what you should have done, because it took the United States like 6 years, 7 years to find out that they had lied, and the United States is lying too. Like it's somewhere along the line, everywhere along the lines, they're just fucking taking a little bit away. Those black redacting markers, you know, just pull it out. If you're a Fed, ging, 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 gone.
Yeah,
gone. Crazy.
It's like lies throughout history.
A great book.
Yeah, that would be a great book. But more like I'm intrigued about how, like, the capability of lies. You know, like, because the people that, like, you get Columbus and shit, right? Who goes and then can go back and literally has a whole boat time of imagination to concoct these people into however he wants. You know, a whole fucking boat ride. And you know that he was doing the whole big fish story. Like, the first time he, like, was getting ready to tell this or writing it down, you know, maybe there was, you know, they were very kind of normal, and then all of a sudden he probably started to make them more exotic, the people he found, and more ununderstood, and he started to make the gold seem like more miraculous and more this and more that, and just kind of was able to, I'm sure through his own want, like, just kind of manipulate that situation, and like, but today, like, and the reason I bring this up is like the nuclear reactors, how like now they just, it's not necessarily lying, but they just say fuck you, you don't get a no, and they block it out with the little
redacting marker,
little fucking marker, choosing what you can and what you can and can't see.
It's their choice. It's their choice. It's crazy. We've lost like a lot of freedoms, and with everything that happens with like 9/11 and the Freedom Act, and we lose so much. And at times, yes, it's necessary, but at the same time, it's like how much did we waste up till that point? I'm not saying the United States called 9/11 to its doors at all. Or that we deserved Pearl Harbor, or that we deserved terrorist attacks whatsoever. But I do think that like there's this philosophy of like just stupidness as government, you know, just blatantness, where it's like obviously they hate us and they're gonna like come, and you knew, and like, and 9/11 struck, and in like 4 days, it was like a month, they had in the meetings, the transcripts of the meetings equated to the same amount of pages in the Quran in a month. So like they knew what to do. They were talking the whole time. And the same thing happened with the 2008 crash. It was extremely thought through to buy out the banks and to do whatever they did up to that point. It's all thought out. Before the market crashed, they were having meetings for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Just like this bubble's it's about to pop, and there's these boo, and then they act like they didn't talk about it because it's easy. It's good business. It's pretty good business, especially if we're just going to go back to normal life, which we do.
Yeah.
We have like the like attention span of squirrels at times as a society, especially as you get older, and you're just watching like CNN and Fox, and you think that's like what you need to be knowing, and then you get upset when people say there's more out there because. Of course you trust your nightly television news. That's how it's always been.
Yeah.
You trust them. Why would they lie?
Yeah. I had an interesting thought, and I wrote it down, and I feel like our government like is always trying to protect us. And like as a society, like it's trying to like it acts like we're kids and they're our parents. They're controlling what you do, what you see, how you act, and how they say is it's for your own good. I instantly thought of like Roman times, and how in Roman times the citizens protected the government. It was the government's job to get the citizens ready for whatever the fuck was going on, whether it was the fucking, and I wish who would Romans be attacked by?
The Byzantine Empire.
The Byzantine Empire. So the Roman government would go to the Roman people, fucking listen!
And here's another one, Syria. They were having wars in Syria. The common day Syria, Afghanistan. And we're still in that area fighting.
Yeah.
Keep going. That's just like fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know much. I want to hear you talk about it. Honestly,
it was just another name I could bring up that has more weight. You know, that
that was
other
fighting.
Than the Byzantine Empire.
That was
Syria
fighting.
would be attacked.
Okay, cool. So like, yeah, it would be, and then you'd have that Roman leader, the Roman. What was the name? What's the name of the Roman?
Like a
emperor?
Marcus Aurelius?
Yes. I took a whole class on the Roman Empire, and and it's so fascinating, but it is complicated if you don't dive into it. But like, just imagine that leader's job was to have his people in front of him and go, fucking listen, they're out there. They want to get in here. They want to kill your family. They want to steal your food. They want to kill everyone. And you're just like, no, not my family, not my country. You know, and you fucking, and the government told you, and they prepared you, and you and your family got ready, and you were ready to fight. Now, our government says, our government is now a mom in a suburban neighborhood. Sweetie, you're not wearing your helmet. I know you most likely won't crash, but you should probably just wear your helmet.
Over here.
What?
The dad over there.
Oh, is that? Yeah, well, it's like a suburban parent. Like, that's how our government treats us now. It's like, sweetie, did you take your vitamins? I think you should take your vitamins this morning. Or like, mom, or like someone pesking their husband or some shit. But it's not what it used to be. It's not the government or the people saying, like, and the citizens wanting, like, taking shit in their own hands and being, like, collective in some way, like getting out there and saying, this is what we fucking want, and our government's like, yes, like this is what we need. Like if the government needed people to stay home, like I wish they could like just say things in a way. Like if you go to like COVID, like say, hey, like I feel like there's something like give us some sort of rallying cry. You know, stop with the protecting. I do think there's something behind having someone smart, and especially in our government, I think we need it. We bag on Britain and the Queen a shit ton, but if we had a really kind of like someone really kind of political or smart or savvy in that way, and then a figurehead, and then someone like The Rock, you know, that
the
could
speaker,
the speaker,
yeah,
you
Obama,
know,
he was very good at that.
the figurehead, the face of it all, you know, and that we could be like, I like that fucking guy, you know,
but he's like three guys.
Every president should have a hype man in a way. I know Key and Peele did that whole shit.
So funny.
It was hilarious. It was so fucking perfect because it's like, thank you. I want to know what the fuck this guy's actually saying.
Yeah.
And I think it would be fucking good if every president was like, you know what? I don't think every surgeon should have to talk about what they're surgeons are so awkward because they're so smart. I don't expect him to have other qualities. Well, my president, I expect to be skilled in presidential tactics. I don't have him have a speaker. You know, let him be super crazy, geeked out.
Put him on C-SPAN. Let me see him work. You know, you don't gotta hide him.
That would be cool. Give us a fucking Twitch of the president. Give us a Twitch of the president. I would
live stream of him all day.
I would love it.
Into it.
Why?
He'd become famous.
Why not?
It's so fun.
I get why not. I don't know.
No, I feel it.
But I would love a good figurehead. Dude.
Do you mind if I fill up my coffee?
Yeah, go for
I'll bring
it.
it out here, actually.
Yeah.
That's such a good point. Let's just make it happen, man.
Yeah. Fucking go to war. Who doesn't love a good Spartan chant?
Over that fucking hill.
You gotta fucking do it. Oh man, I've given a few Spartan chants, especially when I've been drunk. I've never given. I've done it as a tennis player, but I was gonna just say I've heard some friends do some crazy gnarly good Spartan chants. You know, it's just some classic nerdy ass shit. Get you in the mood for some drinking or something before you go out. Irish stories are the best.
I'm only.
Have you ever heard a good
man,
Irish? Have you ever heard a good Irish drinking story? Bar story?
No.
Oh my god, I'm playing it.
Yes, please.
I think we're allowed to do that. We haven't tested too much of our limits as far as what we can.
I've been thinking about that. There was another one that we're gonna have to test out. I saw some people. They had their.
Or we'll
card.
Look it up.
What did you want to look up?
No, I said we'll see. We'll just have to test things and look things up if what will get pulled.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. I think. Yes. The CDC guidelines now are being spread over to the internet in a way to where if you're on YouTube and you claim, if me and you were to start talking about coronavirus and what we're doing to stay safe and clean and healthy, that could be pulled. Because it could be inferred, especially if you have
that we're offering medical advice.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be silly.
Crazy.
Yeah, but good thing we have awesome editing technology. And if they cut a video, we could edit it out and just put it back up. Although that's some bullshit censorship. You shouldn't get too excited about that.
What is the editing technology we're using? We should give them a shot.
It's Wondershare, and it's Filmora. Wondershare Filmora 9. It's pretty dope. Lifetime, I think, and it costs $40 or something, or maybe it was more. I don't know. It was 60, 40 or 60.
What was I gonna say? I think it would be cool to figure out. You said we could put stuff up on the screen while we're watching. Oh,
that's on Zoom. That works really well on Zoom. I don't know how to do it on the technology I have yet. On Zoom you can go hardcore with it. It's super cool. You can even draw your own things.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I got this Irish video, I'm gonna play the audio for it.
I just got this computer, everybody.
Yeah, show that off as we get this going.
MacBook Air. It's from 2011, but it's fucking beautiful, and I really needed one. I just got an Ableton 10. There's a cheaper version. If you go on their website, it says it's $99, but I went to it's a weird name, so I'm gonna look at it real quick. I went to sweetwater.com and I got it for $67 with a month trial, and it's the same exact software. So yeah, if you are interested, but please continue.
Yes, all right. So, like I was saying, this is a pre-drinking speech that this Irish guy does. It's fucking great. Just listen. We'll see if it's too hard to hear. Can you hear it?
Only because he's Scottish, I can't. Like, I can't
No,
understand
it's
what
too
he's
tough to hear.
We got the speaker somewhere around here.
No, regardless, it's just it's a great. Oh, okay. I guess we'll get it out.
I was
going
gonna connect it to my computer.
Perfect.
So that if we needed
Yes. I like that. I think it'd be good to have a speaker out. But regardless, I love a good speech. I had a tennis buddy that used to always just say, "Are you not entertained?" And it was just fucking great. Oh. I did look up, since we were talking about like diseases and stuff. I looked up because I was curious, because we were talking about penicillin and stuff. So I wanted to know when exactly that came out. And it was much after the Native Americans and all the wonderful diseases they got. Penicillin, which isn't a disease, sorry. It's so actually before, I guess, but not too far. So 1928. So mid-war, like the mid kind of years in a way, but in interwar, I guess I meant to say. It says, in one of his most famous stories of medical science, Scottish bacteriologist Alexander Fleming comes into his lab in London one day in 1928 and finds that bacteria on a test dish seemed to have been wiped out by some mold that had landed in the dish. Well, that's fucking mushrooms, that fucking mold. That's crazy. So it landed in the dish. It wasn't, he didn't put it in there. It was an accident.
Wow. The story I heard last night was they were shopping.
Like they were trying to?
They were shopping and they saw, some guy saw a cantaloupe, one of the researchers, and was like, look at this beautiful gold mold. And something came of that, but that must have been a fable.
Yep, good old apple dropping from the tree with Isaac Newton.
On your head. On
yep, gravity, man. Yeah, no, penicillin. We were watching. Do you want to go into the mushrooms?
Yeah, absolutely.
You up for it? Did you want to finish out what we were doing here?
Yes, I have on my screen right now wars from 1928 to 30 to see what war was going on just after that. It could have been just the beginning of World War II. And
World War II is from 1939 to 1944.
So it had to have been way.
I got some shit memorized. Or it could have been 45.
33. What? It was 46.
Was it 46?
I think it's 39 to 46.
Damn, I said 44. 2 years short. I ended the war 2 years short. Sorry.
We wish.
A lot of lives saved. Alternate reality. There's a fun movie out right now called The Invention of Lying, where this guy invents lying.
It was 45. You were correct.
45?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
I said 44,
what 45.
I was just saying there's a silly movie called The Invention of Lying, where this guy
that's a good one. I like that.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Like
crazy,
that.
weird concept, but it's
a cool
fun.
Movie. He's getting like the Pizza Hut box.
And
it's like the last honest pizza. And it's like, oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, no, I actually liked how they did that one, because they could have fucked it up really easy. But I liked the fact that anything he spoke became truth. Like when he tells the fucking woman, have sex with me, the world's ending, and instantly she's like, yeah, the world's ending.
I love the baby looks like a rat. That was my favorite.
I don't remember that. Is that a quote from it?
Yeah, he starts telling one of the ladies that her baby just looks like a rat. She's like, isn't he beautiful? And he's like, he kind of looks like a rat. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I don't mean rude, but like he just kind of looks like a rat. And it was so funny.
It's great. The pure honesty in the whole, like, it's so good.
Was it that he couldn't lie, or was it?
Well, no, they just only know the truth.
Yeah.
They never thought anything of it.
That's right.
And then one day he was at the bank, spoiler alert, and the woman's like, oh, our bank, our systems are down. How much money did you have in your account? and it's like all of a sudden he had a Jimmy Neutron, like, like went in his head, saw the monkey clapping, and he was like, $800? And then she was like, oh, our systems seem to be back online. And he was like lying, and it was 300. And she looks at it, looks at him, looks at it, looks at him, goes, our system must be broken. Here's your $800, sir. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience.
It's a way to get bought there.
And like that's how the whole line starts.
Get $800. What were we doing on the computer before I get into what that makes me think of from the other day?
Originally you were looking up, I think, like a model or something. No, I thought you were looking up something about the computer. Like I thought you were, and then you were looking at the wars. Like
that's what I have open.
Yeah, I thought you were looking up something on the compuper as far as the model goes. We were gonna talk about mushrooms eventually,
okay.
But that's what I remembered.
We're getting everywhere. Hello.
Hey, we're filming, but you're good. We can edit this out.
Want that fucking coffee pot?
No.
Yeah, we'll edit this out. You're
There's
good.
like 2 cups in there. You could definitely take the...
I'm like, where's the fucking coffee pot?
We're still It's with the half and half.
That coffee maker was $10 around Christmas time.
Is that a subliminal get your own coffee pot
That's
message?
That's not subliminal at all, Jolie. That's a hardcore. 10-4.
So we could have 2 coffee
I'm gonna
pots.
come back out here. I'm gonna leave this open. It's so cold inside.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Dylan, it's a little cold in there.
It gets cold.
Maybe
It's all about balance.
We might need to do a little bit of a convection in the house.
But
It's
not
freezing
not
in my
extreme.
room.
Freezing in her room, Dylan.
Not
It's freezing
extreme.
in my room,
Freezing out
guys.
Jolie there.
Well, you should open
Dylan
up a window.
stands strong by having the air kept in the house.
No,
Like,
I
You know,
think
just
we
in case-
shouldn't.
Just in case we catch one of the corona, it will stay inside long enough for us to breathe it in.
I just think
You're
we
inviting
should
Rhoda
leave the doors open for a little bit, then
Yes,
close
absolutely.
them,
No, I'm
and not
joking.
leave them open all
There
day.
has to be an equation.
A
there.
balance.
A balance.
It's not all ones and zeros. There's a 0.5 in there somewhere.
Okay. The Mycelium Running, that's the book that he wrote. This is fantastic fun, guys.
What is it?
Mycelium Running is a book that I've been trying to finish, and every time I buy this book, it disappears. It's kind of frustrating. And it was written by
Sounds like a good
Paul
gift.
Stamets. And it's $50. It sucks. So I've spent $100 on this book. And it's...
Oh, you keep losing it?
Mhm.
Oh, that's not the way. I thought you meant like you keep trying to buy it and it keeps getting sold out.
No, yeah.
Oh.
It's like, it just disappears, man. And it's this tattoo that I have is actually off of that book. I keep I got a couple tattoos. I keep them where jobs won't see them. Thank you, Mom. Always a good thought.
Did you say
It's $34.95 now.
Nice.
I went to not Brookstone, the place downtown in Petaluma, and I got it there twice, and it was like $45 or so. And it's this book here, and it's like it's this generation's or even this century's Bible for mushrooms, you could say.
Okay. And it's like real.
It's like
agreed upon science.
It's like a textbook, yeah.
Cool,
And it's
cool.
complete science. I think there's like 30 pages of cites in the back of him citing his sources. It's in work with a few it's not just his writings either. It's collective research from a few people. And
Yeah, I got a book called The Mushroom and the Sacred Cross that Joe Rogan loves to talk about.
oh, really?
And it's theory for sure, and it's the general idea. The introduction of it is just the idea that our religion, Christianity, or religion in general, or I think Christianity was based or created out of a need to hide or disguise these mushroom deities and sex cults, essentially. And so like it was all about how the rain was the sperm, and it would come from the clouds and into the and into the fertile soil, which was like, you know, like the vagina in a way.
Yeah.
And these mushrooms would like
pop up as a result of this, and you know, they were a sign of like life, and that like sex had just like happened in a way, and then they would get high off these mushrooms, some of them, not all of them obviously, and you know, they would pass down these kind of sacred stories and kind of lessons and teachings from them, and then they I think is like, I forget who started to intrude, but I'm gonna stick with the Romans for fake history. Someone starts to intrude or something on these mushroom cults. I don't even know the people. That's how lame I'm being right now. I read about a quarter of the book, but so they hide or disguise their lessons as this religion of, you know, Christianity, and or maybe it's Judaism. I'm not quite sure, but it's fascinating.
I'm looking
it up. Yeah, it's worth checking out, and I have the book obviously. So
got the Amanita muscaria.
Yeah,
on the cover.
Amanita muscaria.
This book relates the development of language to the development of myths, religions, and cultic practices and world cultures. Allegro argues. The author is John M. Allegro.
Thank you.
He's from the United Kingdom, and the book's called The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. Like you said, it's got a really cool cover. It looks like it was written in like the 80s, 70s.
Yeah, and it got reinvigorated, or like brought back to life because it got shut down or some shit like that.
Wow,
he got super shut out of his community.
They shelved him.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, I think someone bought it or something like that.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They shelve it.
Uh-huh.
It'll, like, as a company, just not publish your shit.
Yep.
You'll get your one payment for your product, and then they just hide it.
It's incredible how that's even possible, how it's legal. Like,
and it's state-ran it's like state-ran corporations. They're totally linked.
Yeah, you should be able to know that's going to happen
interest.
though, in some way or another.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know. Like, it seems
I'm sure
absurd
people
to me.
are.
Like, it seems like my inner kid comes out, right? And I'm just like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't get to do that. No,
I don't
someone's
like
gonna.
that.
You're not gonna be able to do this forever.
Yeah, it's like my inner kid just is like, that's a no. It's a no-y.
It's a no-no.
Yep.
Yeah, I think people are definitely. I mean, if you're like a Marine and you're gonna write a book, I think you're very aware of the situation.
Yeah.
There's a guy on.
Depending on what you put in there.
Was talking about that. Yeah, if it's fiction or not.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing fiction books, and they were still tripping. It's about a lot of religions lay in fertility cults, like you were saying.
Yes.
Which I've never heard of.
Oh,
it's
dude,
so crazy.
It's cool.
And the cult practices such as ingesting visionary plants to perceive the mind of God persisted into the early Christian era and to some unspecified extent into the 13th century of reoccurrences. In the 18th century and mid-20th century, as he interprets the fresco of Plain Recall Chopin.
It's a tough read. I'll tell you, this is honestly kind of the reading in general.
Damn.
It's
pretty thick.
They don't.
To be an accurate depiction of the ritual ingestion of Amanita muscaria, boom, 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 as the Eucharist. Allegro argued that Jesus never existed as a historical figure. That was a mythological creation of early Christians under the influence of psychoactive mushrooms, extracts such as psilocybin. So is this like the burning bush theory as well with Islam and
actually
and the Quran?
No,
Judith Ann Brown. No, I
it's more based off of the actual. So it's super interesting how the John M. Allegra, Mr. Allegra,
John M. Allegro.
Allegro, yeah, goes
male,
about
so
it.
It would be O.
Yeah. Well, not if it's a last. Yeah,
still,
always.
Yeah.
No, if it's.
No, yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I'm gonna say I don't know, but I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But how he goes about it is he actually it's all based off. We were talking about this yesterday. The etymology, the etymology of words, the origin of words.
Yeah.
And so he just looks through the Bible and other contexts and texts and pretty much takes this word and will have a whole chain and break it down. How what it really breaks down to is this. And that's how he gets to his findings. Is he takes, words have changed so much throughout history, and their meanings and the way they're said and their pronunciations and how they're spelled. It's so willy-nilly. Like, it's one thing to say it, but then to have a customary way to write it, it gets lost. It gets And so what he does is he does an amazing job of just tracking it down. Is it confusing? Is it tough? Yes, I'll still have to like go back and read it, but like more thoroughly. But I picked it up for about a month, and it was cool. It got me a little bit more curious into mushrooms and kind of all the craziness that comes along with them.
I get butterflies when I think of mushrooms. Like seriously, it's so crazy.
Look at that bong. Look at.
I know. No, this is like the most idolizing thing I have in my life. Like, it's the most disrespectful thing I own. This bong, I love it. I love it so much because I bought it because I was like, it was $60, and I was like, dude, that is the fucking coolest bong ever. And then it's like, sometimes you just got to be silly, you know. You can't be so serious all the time. So I was really enjoying the fact that I had mushrooms on my bong, and that I really do like take mushrooms very fucking serious. Like, I won't let you upset me about mushrooms, but I'll upset you because I will be too opinionated. I'll be like, well, you know, maybe it's not for that. Maybe that's why you had a bad time. And people will be like, well, no, I just got to do it more, and like, I was just with this person and that, and it's like, no, you know, like, no, you felt uneasy because you were in an uneasy situation. The mushrooms is so honest that like it's like quiet. Like I was thinking the other day, you take mushrooms and you're not gonna get high immediately. It's like, it's for later. So like that's like the cornerstone of the topic I'm bringing up, is that it's for later. You know, like you take mushrooms not only to start for the next hour. If you're taking mushrooms because you want to get high that moment, or you need to get high that moment, you're not gonna, that next hour is gonna be weird and grueling, and you're gonna get anxiety, your heart rate's gonna accelerate, the mushrooms are gonna take over of your anxieties, and then possibly you have a good time, but like you've walked yourself into this arena of like awkwardness and with yourself in a way, because it's like, I don't know this thing, and I don't necessarily know what I'm supposed to be doing with it, so this feels right, and then like all of a sudden you realize that taking it in that way isn't right. So as you begin to realize that you're taking these mushrooms because it's the only way to accept this knowledge, then that hour passes by in meditation and in anticipation and thought, and then that hour hits you, and you might be meditating, or you might have not moved much, or you might have moved a lot, and it's now this new energy of like, oh, okay, so it's for later, I get it. And then as you get high, you start thinking about, or me, I start thinking about the fact that everything you do is for later. You live in now for later. You live today for tomorrow. You go to bed for tomorrow to wake up. And it's,
I agree.
Yeah,
if I
right?
could preach.
Yeah, so like the more you have that heart with mushrooms, and the more you sit with it for a later time, because you have to be now, you have to be here. So all you can do is to like expand yourself into as much as you can, and maybe to the point of where you're in tomorrow as you're in now, because you've extended this thought process and this consciousness, and everything is so flowing in that sense to where you're not going to be knocked off your horse by daily
Obstacles?
There's another adjectives in my head, but it's like adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Daily adversity, just small things. That's not going to knock you off your horse, because you're so invested in later.
Mm-hmm.
You're invested in today for later. So that stuff doesn't matter, because like if you get cut off on the road, I every time I take the 37 up to like Sacramento,
mm-hmm. Yep.
Some motherfucker in a utility truck is gonna go 95 on the two-way, where you're supposed to be able to get around people that physically can't go that fast. And so they're flying because they don't want anyone else to be in front of them. And a lot of the times I'll lose the race, and I'll end up behind this fucking douchebag on the one-lane 37 the whole way. And then he has to go slow because he's in a truck that fucking and he doesn't want to hit the walls or whatever every time. So I get frustrated, and then all of a sudden I like maybe start smoking my spliff, and I turn on the music. Within 15 minutes I forgot about it. And then the last time when I went up to Fremont or Fairfield to go hang out, some guy did that, and I got pissed off, and then he was going super slow, I thought, and then it came to like a curve where I could see what was in front of him. 3 cars in front of him was a truck, normal truck with like boxes on the back tied down, and he had slowed down everybody. So we were all going like 45, 50 on the one lane because of that guy, not because of the guy that cut me off. So if I did get in front of him, I would have been right in front of him, you know. I wouldn't have been going any faster. And I just saw that after I'd already like forgotten about it. And it's like it's so small, it's not adversity at all. You like create this adversity where you're like, well, I had this time to get there and I was gonna get there quick, and this fucker, and you know, your fucking truck, and I don't have a 2-lane for another 8 miles, and like that like translates into like everything where you're talking about the philosophy where you start yelling at people in conversations because they like kind of remind you of someone that you have like literal trauma or adversity with that you haven't looked at, and like you start transfusing and like transferring all of these transgressions is I think what they're called, and like a good way to avoid that is to, I guess like a good way to accept mushrooms into your life to help you avoid that is to say this isn't for right now. So if I take them for right now and my mind's in this not party place but kind of like social party-ist kind of thing, then you didn't take mushrooms for no reason at all. But at the same time, like, it's like going to church if you really think it's there for you, like you truly are religious and that's like the temple, you know. And then you go there and you're just going there. You're
go
just
there
going
for a
to
hot
church.
girl that goes
You're just
there.
going to see Nancy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, well, you're not even in it,
hot
you know.
Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy.
Hot
Nancy at church, man. Oh man. and like I get it. I do it. All the time I take shrooms with people, and not in like a meditation stance, but at the same time I feel like it's helped me be quiet. It's helped me not need to, like in the last podcast I was saying, like I do step over my line of being quiet to where I do let people like overtake my space. But at the same time, that's after so much space that I am okay with and that isn't like invasive in my life, where I'm giving people me, space, energy, silence, ears, thought, and it doesn't bother me because like I've done it alone for so long, and I've like accepted mushrooms in my life in such like a homely way. It's like my guide, that it doesn't bother me. It doesn't. You need to listen. It should be like your stance in life as like a listener, you know.
Yeah.
And the bong is my one like little
little token to it.
Yeah.
I have I'll say an older friend who's gonna try shrooms for the first time. She has like anxiety and depression, has a lot of kind of maybe negative thoughts about like life and death, especially like a lot of like fear towards death. And one of the biggest studies coming out is, or like maybe not the biggest, one of the coolest studies coming out is how people on their deathbed, they're starting, or like in or maybe not their deathbed, but like in like hospice or some shit, they're letting them take mushrooms, and they're seeing this like surge in their ability. Again, I don't know the scientific word for it, but there's surge in this ability to accept death.
Wow.
And not fear death anymore. And my poor friend has such a fear of death.
I couldn't imagine.
Like she just had a lot of people in her life die in the past couple of years, and yeah, and you know, she doesn't want to be in this place. She doesn't want to focus on these kinds of things, and you know, she's taken a chance with mushrooms, which I think is cool. I think it's brave. I think it's a good place. What kind of drew you to mushrooms in the first place, if you don't mind me asking?
I think there are a couple people at my school that claim to be taking mushrooms, and my musician friend Kyle, they were people that had taken it and fucked themselves up in a way, and fucked it up for themselves, where they could never enter that space with it. He started taking it at school a lot before I met him, and he was known for he got kicked out of school one time because he had like just like 1,000 doses on him or something, and he was taking like 40 a day, and he didn't. He's an amazing musician, and he lives. It didn't mess him up at all. But I hadn't taken any psychedelics, and I was watching that be expressed, and I was like, what is that? And I think I don't know when I think I took acid the first time with my ex, not Dakota, but my first like girlfriend. Really, she had an awful trip the whole time, and it was like I had to like take care of her the whole time, and that was like my introduction to psychedelics, and I just like felt like it was right. With shrooms specifically, I was going through a lot. Meditation wasn't really helping. I knew the wrong people, and I needed to like enter this little space of being able to just shut everything off, and not like my life, not to exit like existence, but like that existence. I had to like figure out why I had to go, and the first time I took acid, I was taking care of her the whole time, and I still like was just having a good time. I never had a bad trip throughout the whole experience. And then I took it again with Julian and Joey, I think. And then I started taking it myself. And the first time I took it alone, I think I had heard of Terrence McKenna, and he was speaking about how he would like take mushrooms, and it's not what I did, I couldn't do that yet, but he would take the mushrooms and he wouldn't move at all. He would take them and just start meditating immediately. And from the moment he ingested them to the end of his trip, he would just sit in his room and he would just meditate, or he would choose to have his eyes open or closed, and that would be his focus. And he would explain his experiences, and it was nothing I've ever heard before. And I just like went. There was no one there telling me to go to, like, there was no influence. There was no one there taking shrooms. I was just like, I got to try this thing, because I wanted to find like spirituality, and I really felt like that was the way that I would find my spirituality. And it helped. It did. It's like I feel like I'm my own temple in a lot of ways now, and I have like my own therapists and my own structures. I'm not perfect at all. I have depression, I have anxiety, I have dark thoughts, I have waste, I have like stagnant moments, but at the same time I have a lot of things inside of me that I can't necessarily say that like I did. I just found them along this journey with mushrooms. And I think hearing that more and more, the more I took them along, just there was no question. There was no question at all. The first like goal I had was to leave the country and be like a shaman. Not be a shaman, but like go to a monastery, study Buddhism. I think that's what got me into mushrooms too. Before I was taking them, I was studying Buddhism and Hindu books and Thai books. I was like planning a trip to Thailand, and I just hadn't taken mushrooms yet. I was like, okay, so I was like preparing myself for the spiritual journey that I hadn't like gone on yet. And I haven't met egos yet. I haven't, or whatever. Like I haven't like lost consciousness before. But I've had an unnumberable amount of inexplicable experiences that you don't want to explain unless someone's like, why should I need this? What I have, like your friend, how is it gonna help?
Yeah.
Why would that help? That's where you'd be like, well, in my opinion, look into this and this, and this is what happened to me, and this is what I would like to explain. If I were to explain my energy and my focus and my aura before I began like my spiritual journey, I'm a different person. A totally different person. By far.
Do you have a preferred amount of grams that you would?
An eighth to 2/8 alone.
So what is that for people
who
who aren't fucking drug addicts?
3.5 grams is a good if you've been taking mushrooms. Are you asking like a starter?
Yeah, like what do you normally take? What do you think kind of gets you in the right place normally? Have you ever maybe
when I first
reached
started
a limit?
half an eighth, so 1.8 grams to 2 grams.
That's a good one too. Like where to start?
That's what I thought you were asking.
Cool, I like that. Yeah.
1.2 to 2 grams, and then like I like buying 2/8 and seeing if I want to eat both. I'll usually eat 4 to 5 grams. And just stay in my room or in my house. Yeah, and I've always had a weird complex in my family, a complex where like I wasn't supposed to stay in my room. I wasn't not allowed in the house, but that wasn't where I was supposed to be. Like, that's not where my energy was. That's not where hope was. That's not where love was. That's not where, like, life was. So it was very easy for me, more than other people, to not leave my room and to just fill my room with my life and to like create that as some sort of rocket ship toward, like, energy and focus. And I feel like that's a big change, or a big label in my existence that people don't have when I do ask them to take shrooms alone, and they bring up the fact that it's like there's just too much. They want to be outside, they want to go out in the house, and their family's home, and they can't do that for that long. They don't want to sit still. They can't sit still. They've never meditated before. And I totally understand, because, like, with journaling, with meditation, it was a choice to not die, you know, like, it was a choice to not ruin myself. So in the end, what choice was it? That's not quite a choice. You either are right or wrong in wasting or not wasting, or hurting yourself, really. If I truly felt like I was hurting myself, and you are. If you don't take those steps for yourself that you feel like you're supposed to be taking, which I wasn't at it, and I still don't take some steps, then those are conscious decisions to stay where you are. And if where you are is hurting you, that is you in a lot of ways. And sometimes it is possible to find routes out. I'm still very much connected to my family. And those are steps I didn't take. I didn't go to the monastery, and I didn't leave the country, and I didn't, like, give back the dog in the car. I just kept accepting. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. My mom's going to be out of detox in a month. I have a lot of decisions to make and what I'm going to do. I've had a lot of money coming in. I'm making a lot of conscious decisions to not give it to her, because it costs a lot. Wherever she just went, it's going to cost a lot. And her boyfriend's not going to help her pay it. Her energy's focused on the fact she's not going to be paying him rent anymore. She's not going to be making her car payments to him anymore. She's not going to be there to take care of my little sister, so now he's, like, actually part of the system, so that's a problem. He didn't know she was drinking in her room. He's an alcoholic downstairs, she's an alcoholic upstairs and downstairs. It's like their room's upstairs, and there's a door at the bottom. And she would just sneak alcohol up there and drink up there all day. I never see my mom without her smelling like alcohol, and hopefully that changes. But I thought he knew, because I knew. I'm showing up at the house one day out of a month, and I'm like, oh, big time. I go up there, it smells, even if I don't make it up into her room. She's not coming downstairs. She hears me come into the house. She never comes says hello. You have to go up into her room and be like, oh, hey, I'm here. And you talk to her for a total of 30 seconds, and then you go back downstairs, and she doesn't follow you. She's staying up there. Whether it's because she's drinking then or not, she's filled with guilt, and she doesn't want you to see her. And I have a lot of that in me, because that's, like, what I've been raised with. She goes to work, and then she comes home and goes to bed because she's, like, on pills or sick or going through withdrawals or on pills or drinking. And it's like a system of don't look at me. So a lot of what I have to learn is inviting people in, because I don't have that stuff to hide. Whether it's an energy that I send out on accident, I'm not an alcoholic or a drunk or a rapist or like any weird shit. I was raised by them.
Yeah.
Up until very, very recently. You know, like 6 years is not a big amount of time.
Yeah.
To regather your entire collective consciousness. And to the process of labeling, expelling, extinction, and extinction bursts, where I'm trying to, like, focus on something and cancel it out of my psychology, and due to that it's being reverberated into my energy and my daily, like, existence with the people I'm around, because I'm truly focused on it. I want to cancel that out. I want to stop that from being in my head, and you have to take the right steps. And obviously there's a lot of wrong steps, and that does, like, it kind of, like, puts little flags on you, because it is what you're thinking about, you know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Where are we? We talked about wars, chain of mycelium,
Well,
music, nothing on there that relates. What would you like to talk about that relates to that?
I had a pretty good first mushroom, like my kind of first mushroom journey is one of note. I would say I tried taking it the first time and it actually didn't work. I was at a musical festival and look at me. I was at a high school musical festival. No, I was at a music festival. My first one actually ever was oh man, I can't believe I'm gonna forget the name, but it'll come back to me. But I fell in love with this EDM artist, Closey. She was fucking amazing. But regardless, so yeah, me and my girlfriend at the time, we take mushrooms. I got them from my friend back home. I'm not gonna shout him out because this is a failure story. But yeah, we eat these mushrooms, and I've never taken them before, so I'm all pumped up, and we're like we wanted. I guess we were a little bit nervous, so we put the mushrooms in like sandwiches, essentially. So like one, the taste, I'd never tasted it, but my girlfriend at the time, she didn't like the taste, so she convinced me like, nah, put them in like the sandwich, and like I think we just didn't have an empty stomach, but regardless, we took them and felt fucking nothing. It was the biggest disappointment ever.
You said you didn't have an empty stomach? You guys had ate recently?
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's interesting, right? My body reacts differently. At least I got stubborn with it. I think it was because we ate is why we didn't feel it, because we ate too much. Mm-hmm. But you should have a full stomach. You are or at least some kind of thing. It depends on the experience you want. My body responds really well to an empty stomach. Like it in a natural state. Okay. Like I still do intermittent fasting and from 1 to 9. No, I eat from 1 to 9. Okay. So I don't eat until 1. Like I haven't eaten today, and like I have an empty stomach, and like I feel it, but it feels amazing. Like it just feels fresh, and like it's doing something. Mm-hmm. But so the first time we do mushrooms, like I do mushrooms, nothing, like absolutely nothing. I'm begging for it. And but I guess it gets magical. So we then go. I tell my friend, and he's like, "Dude, I'm sorry." Like he apologizes. He's like, "But we're going to Amsterdam in the summer. We'll do them there for the first time all together." And that's exactly what we do. We were college roommates, and I went with my college roommates, and we did like a 6-week after college trip around Europe, and Amsterdam was our second stop before London, Britain. Sorry, I'm the worst with that shit. With Britain, and so we go to Amsterdam, and it was awesome though. Like we went to this coffee shop essentially. You go inside, there was some dready jot, and he like welcomes you in and shit, and like he hands you a menu, and there's a bunch of shit on the walls, and you see these like 10 different or they're not mushrooms, they're truffles, and you see like these 10 different strengths of truffles, and you're just looking, and there's like little fires next to them and shit, little descriptions with them, and we say, okay, cool, like we like, because we knew there were other like coffee shops or whatever you would want to call it, and so we walk out of that one, and then we find another, and it literally is this guy's fucking twin. We thought it was the same fucking guy. We were like, this is hilarious. And so we were like, all right, you guys have to be brothers. Like, yeah, they were for sure twin brothers. It was fucking great. They worked at these opposite coffee shops just to trip you the fuck out. Just Amsterdam weird shit. But yeah, so these coffee shops were amazing though. So you'd go in, and you could just buy truffles. So we buy like the medium dose one. We all buy the same one, or I think we did. I can't quite remember. They come in a little box. I kept the lid. There's a little astronomical thing next to it. But we like all 4 take them. I think their truffles are different. You got to take about 10 grams as a dose, I think. But it was one of the most. It was kind of, now it's kind of like, I don't want to say chasing the dragon. I've had many beautiful mushroom trips, but it was an amazing mushroom trip. And I was sure to make sure we are on an empty stomach. Like, I'm feeling this shit, you know? And the most amazing thing to me Well, was one, we were able to just be ourselves around each other. Like, that felt really cool. That doesn't always happen on mushrooms, to not have your conscious thinking about the other people. Like, we were really connected.
Yeah.
It was that felt nice.
That's rare.
And then the two trippiest parts of it, just as far as hallucinogenic things goes, were the clouds. I could finally see that clouds were water.
Interesting.
Like, because clouds, they look so solid. They have these edges, and you're like, that's where it starts, and that's where it stops. And it's just, for the first time, I was looking at the clouds, and there's literally like this whoosh, like this like whooshing. Waves. Yeah, like waves in the fucking sky. And it absolutely blew my mind. And to this day, like, I've always looked at clouds differently. And it's such a enjoyable thing to look at differently too, because it's so small, it's so stupid, but I can look at those clouds and be like, I know what you're really doing. I know what's going on. And then also dimension. I couldn't, after about 10 feet in front of me, everything was flat.
Oh yeah,
like completely fucking
that's
flat.
crazy.
There was no, and like that's how I became aware of the fact, like, shadows create depth in everything. Like, if we didn't, like, the things that we see are so manipulated by, like, the sun, shadows, perspective, everything. Like, you wonder how, like, fragile it is, right? Like, what, like, we were talking about, like, what if mushrooms didn't exist?
What would in my head right now.
What would things look like? Like, what would things look like if we just had a slightly different perspective on the world? Would we always, like, then this state would feel like it's tripping in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's such, takes so little to kind of, just vision itself is such a, almost like a hallucinogen in a way, or like a drug in a way. If you can just see things differently, it can trip you out. Like a kaleidoscope, is that what those things are? It makes you see like a fly.
Yeah.
Those things always kind of make me feel like I'm tripping. What did we just connect on? What was the topic?
I was talking about my first couple trips, I guess, and how made me think about mushrooms.
We were talking about, we just connected on something before that. You said you were just thinking about that when I was talking about it.
Oh yeah, the mushrooms. Not if mushrooms were to, like, if there was some other decomposer in nature along the chain of evolution, like as history went on, if the world would look different. Or of course it would, but like,
yeah.
I was thinking,
what would that difference be?
Yeah, one of the thoughts I had was maybe mushrooms would represent themselves, or like what we see in mushrooms, spores and like very tender skin. They're one cell wall thick, so they have one cell wall, and then they have all of their data information, or all of their DNA data and information, and like whatever fucking cells they have. Past that, like, wall, it's literally like we have 7 layers of skin. They have one cell wall. It's amazing that they can repel methane, plastics, oils, as in like petrol oil, and
wait, is it
oils.
No, absorb, right? Wait,
well, they absorb both, exactly. Yeah, both. They first,
which don't make sense yet.
First, like the first mycelium cells, the farthest out ones that make first contact, they would accept all the information from whatever product, whatever chemical is right there, and then
they hack it. They say, give us your shit.
Pretty much, yeah. They like plug in, and then as soon as they plug in, the cell walls behind them get that information, and they die off. If it's something that's going to kill the mycelium naturally. As it passes each cell, not walls, just the cells of each little finger of mycelium, and as those die back, which it's like each death is full of virtue, because
like information.
It's like a scientist dying for his work. He blows up in his lab, each little cell, they blow up.
Not before he sends the email.
Click! And he's like, poof! And then the person's like, oh, fuck yeah! Click! Poof! And then with each little cell that like gets that information, they're building antibodies against that material. So by the time it reaches the actual mushroom cell wall, it may be killed off a bunch of mycelium. Forget about it, because now that wall of mycelium that is there, that has the information all processed, and they've gone through. What they're doing is like the first sprout goes off as like a hunter explorer. They're like looking for stuff, and then they just like if you were dropped somewhere you've never been before. You're gaining your grounds. You figure out what your resources are. You figure out what predators you have. That's what their job is. And once that process is done, up to the point where they have a new form of mycelium that is prepared to not explore but hunt, then it's like a new world. And now it's like it takes longer for that chemical to decompose if it was decomposing mycelium. And it's such a it's such like a straight line process, and it's such an intelligent being that it doesn't take a lot of time for that to go from a dangerous material for the cell wall to being something that it's going to ingest and use as new fat or new tissue or whatever. As food, yeah. And still, Paul Stamets yesterday was saying that with the with one of the oils or something, or with I think it was with one of the oil or something, the oil spills. They accepted it in after the process of killing off the mycelium, and then the mycelium, it literally changes its DNA. It's not like it's changing a little bit. It's a new mycelium once it's past that, like as it moves forward. And that's why like it's like there's like one mushroom out of a huge floor of mycelium, because it's like its little army. It's all its little scientists and army. It began turning it into a new chemical that it was able to ionize or something into its like.
It made a new food, right?
Yeah, it was weird. It was crazy.
If I could try and explain the way I understood it a little bit, it seemed like the scientific process more or less was they had like an oil, like a vat of oil or some shit like that mixed with water, and then they had a vat of oil mixed with water and the mushrooms or some shit, and as to be expected, the one with the oil, after some time or whatever, some process happened that you would expect with oil, water, or something, I don't know. And the other one with the mushrooms, what apparently happened was just like you were saying, they kind of learned more or less about the oil, and I didn't believe it until I saw it on the documentary.
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
learn?
It doesn't make sense. Look it up for yourself and be a doubter, because if you don't doubt, you don't learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it like learns about the oil, and then it absorbs it, and then it starts making this new mushroom that apparently is really delicious, and they're super healthy, and it just takes the bad and makes it good.
Yeah.
Like it reconverts the bad into good. Like in that process, it literally made something, and this can be used in our oceans and shit like that. I that's the way I think I understood it. And it can be used. I mean, it's penicillin. This is what I kept on my computer screen this whole time. Penicillin is a mushroom. It's a mold, and like what we were saying about as far as rejecting the mushroom's ability, or the mycelium's ability to reject things, and then we'll just simply to reject things.
And
that's
then
exactly.
Not stop there, but to find a way for it to.
But I don't know if penicillin does that. Yeah, in one way or another. But that penicillin essentially is just a mushroom or of some kind of fungi that you inject into your body, and its only job is essentially to repel this bacteria, to send away this bacteria, because it's what the mushroom naturally does. That's insane. The fact that worked, like in theory, great. You know, like, hey, the mushrooms reject bacteria. Why don't we just eat the mushroom? Why don't you just put it in your blood? Like, it sounds like some kid shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just put it in our blood and see what happens? And then you're like, okay, and then you try it and it fucking works. And it was an accident, so absolutely incredible.
That's right. We didn't get through the whole penicillin story at all.
Well, I knew I was going to get back to it. I knew we were going to circle around.
I'm looking at more information on the oils, the mushroom that is eating the oil, and this is Fungi perfecti, and they have a statement by Paul Stamets on here. Paul Stamets' statement on remediation, and its applications to oil spills. And it starts talking about the BP oil spill has inflicted enormous harm in the Gulf of Mexico and will continue to do so for months, if not decades. So this was published like 2015 or something. And it talks about the oil spill for a little while. What we know that one of our strains of oyster mushrooms, which is...
That's what he was talking about,
Yeah,
the oyster mushrooms.
I didn't know it was
Yes.
the oyster mushroom. Wow.
What's he saying about it?
Is tolerant to saltwater exposure. The mycelium fully colonizes saltwater soaked straw or test with oh my god. Straw that has been inoculated with oyster mushroom mycelium floats make it a potential candidate for use in waterborne mycelial containment and filtration systems. More than 120 new enzymes have been identified from mushroom-forming fungi. Various enzymes break down a wide assortment of hydrocarbon-based toxic substances. My work with Battelle, in collaboration with the scientists, resulted in TAH's total aromatic hydrocarbons in diesel contaminated soil to be reduced from 10,000 parts per million to 200 parts per million in 16 weeks from a 25% inoculation rate of oyster mushrooms. So the straw was only 25% saturated.
Wow.
And that's a fucking huge change. It's like
Can you read the
75%
numbers?
change.
Can you read the number change again? The number difference?
My work with Battelle Laboratories in collaboration with their scientists resulted in total aromatic hydrocarbons in diesel contaminated soil to be reduced from 10,000 parts per million to 200 parts per million in 16 weeks. So it's
10,000 to 200.
200.
That sounds really fucking impressive.
800 parts per million gone
Reduced.
in 16 weeks. It's crazy. 8,800 parts per million in 16 weeks from a 25% inoculation rate, which I guess means the saturation of value of the straw to oyster mycelium floats. Allowing the remediated soil to be approved for use as landscaping soil along highways. That is so fucking crazy.
Wow.
And that was in 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where is it at
It's
now?
been 20 years.
Where is it at now? I wonder if we've started it in any kind of way.
Wow.
Probably not, but
Yeah, and
that's okay.
I'll look up the implementation of...
I wonder if there's any use or any potential use for like microplastics.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Like you mean them consuming microplastics?
Yes,
They
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do?
They do.
Of course they do.
I'll look up which one
Of course
that is.
they do. Have you heard about the kind of like teenager, I think, maybe he's in his 20s now, who's creating all these crazy machines to help clean up like the Great Pacific garbage patch and stuff?
No. The
Oh.
Texas-sized patch? and
Yeah.
shit? No.
He's incredible. He was on the Rogan podcast, and
Young-
that one is a...
Probably a young man.
He has a really cool Instagram. I don't know. Just say, a teenager cleaning up Great Pacific Garbage Patch. I think Signs of Texas, and you'll his name will pop up. We love this new computer.
Whoop whoop! It's quick.
You're a better researcher than I am. I like it.
I was always sitting here like, oh man, I love this stuff. I'd probably be so good, but I'm not gonna take your computer. Boy and Slat.
Yeah,
Is
boy
that
and Slat.
I
The man, he's dope. He's crazy.
I'm gonna practice a hardcore mix of Joe Rogan and Jamie, tech and
There you
tech and
go.
host.
But see if you can get a little like summary on this guy or something. He's super fascinating.
He's
But
scared of the sea. He gets seasick.
of course,
This is
He's
trauma
a super
based.
nerd.
Trauma based in.
trauma-based information.
I was gonna say innovation.
Oh yes. He's like, fucking clean it up. I can't do it with my hands. Vince Robot.
The Dutch inventor has designed the world's first ocean plastic cleanup system, but admits he won't be on the ship with it when it launches out of San Francisco on Saturday. Out of San
This
Francisco.
Saturday? When was this? Sorry,
this was-
I'm so gullible.
I'll learn.
I'm
I
so-
gotta,
no,
I gotta
I'm gullible.
introduce the articles here.
Yeah.
It's not readily available. Date here. It was 2018, September 7th. So it's been a couple years.
Yes,
Since this
yeah,
thing
yeah.
got going.
And I knew that. I should have.
This is crazy. There's a video in my head right now. I'm thinking of the next steps of being able to like throw up little videos on the.
It'll
screen.
happen. Don't worry.
That'll be fun.
Well, it'll happen.
The 23-year-old slat will watch from dry land a System 001, a floating barrier nearly 2,000 feet long, snakes its way out under the Golden Gate Bridge into the Pacific. Its destination to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. A gyre of plastic waste twice the size.
Gyre.
I've never seen that word before. GYRE. Please let us know.
I'll look it up.
Size of Texas held on position by ocean currents between California and Hawaii. That is hardcore. We could do a little video of that too. I've seen a couple documentaries about that fucking thing. So.
Gyres. A spiral of vortex. I'm sorry. They put it in a sentence and I got all confused. It said a swarm of ghosts gyred around him. Why is that there? That's
not like
verb.
a gyre of a staircase.
No.
What a staircase! The staircase really gyres up into this really tall building.
Yeah, nope. They're gonna stick with a swarm of ghosts gyred around him. That's awesome.
I get Mario Kart vibes from that.
Yeah. Fucking love Mario Kart, dude.
An array of 60 systems that they have produced could reduce the amount of plastic thereby half by 2025. I hope that this will be a turning point. This is a quote from our guy. I hope that this will be a turning point for the plastic pollution problem. Slat tells Time in a phone interview a few days before the launch, in between final preparations. End quote, is that how you say that? Beginning quote, for 60 years it has only gotten worse and worse. Now hopefully we're turning the tide, end quote.
Oh, okay, I'm
Let's
with you.
see about his history and where this kid grew up and stuff.
He's a clear, you would hope Bay Area.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
releasing it out there. Maybe that's just where the science is happening.
And for sure, I bet.
It's where
It makes no sense. You think you could get a cheap place somewhere else. But
Yeah.
There must be a lot of... That shows how much resources pull up into these cities that start to become so popular. It's got some PR photos with fucking huge piles of garbage. It's always a good way. Some steamy photos with the with like a storm. Well,
I would
he's
be
Dutch, and he's in the city, and he's probably going to school. It's hard to find anything, honestly. This is all people calling him the Garbage Patch Kid.
Why is that kind of great? I fucking love Sour Patch Kids. If I were to give a candy
I
any of
love
my
Sour Patch
A+
Kids,
number
man.
ones,
Really?
I fucking love Sour
I
Patches.
love Mike and Ike's.
Ooh,
Those
Mike and
things are
Ike's.
great.
What about Zowers?
Zowers are pretty awesome.
Yeah, you fuck with Zowers? Yeah, I haven't seen a Zower in a while.
I haven't either. That's crazy.
God, I hope we can still. I love road trips with that. If I can get candy and shit, dude, we should.
I have no problem stopping for candy on road trips. I will add like 2 hours to each trip, just stopping. I got my car washed twice on the way to Fairfield, or
God.
not on the way to Fairfield. That's an hour. On the
I
way
love
to
good
Fresno.
car wash though.
Yeah, that's when I was rolling my spliffs. I was like, I can't roll in parking.
Ah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
Roll it in the wash.
Yeah, it's fun.
That sounds like a great place for a drug deal.
Right outside.
Like
Oh,
in a car wash.
Get in the car. Yeah, that's
That
great
sounds
point.
like a great
You can lay
place
it out
to
there
like
and everything.
do something that
That's
you
awesome.
don't want any. It's noisy.
Yeah.
No one can even get
Test
to
the
you.
Coke.
If I were to ever be in a zombie apocalypse, I'm gonna set the car wash to automatic, and I'm gonna be able to just be able to get inside, and that way none of the zombies can get me. That's stupid.
It sounds like a terrifying scene.
It sounds but it sounds like a car wash is a great place to do secret things. Just that you need for a short amount of time.
It was. It
Sounds like
absolutely was. I had my spliffs rolling. No one even knew a fucking thing.
That's pretty cool, actually. I like that.
I feel like I haven't given enough information on Boyle and Slat. If you're satisfied, I'm satisfied, but I'm looking for a
Oh, I'm satisfied. He has an
Cool.
Instagram.
Then I got my next one here. Yeah, look up Boylan Slat. I mean, that's incredible.
You want to look up his Instagram? Maybe give him a shout out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I do gotta roll out here soon, but I wanted to definitely get in our music recommendations.
Cool.
I think
Yeah, I'll shout out a t-shirt here.
that'll be.
His Instagram is just. Oh, I've been saying his name wrong. Boyanslat. I'm saying Boylan.
What is his name?
It's no L. Boyan.
Boyan.
Mm.
Okay. Boyan Slot.
Boyan Slat with one A.
And what's his
SLAT.
tag again?
It's just that BOYANSLAT.
Nice. He got his name. That's
Yeah.
hard. I guess if you have a unique name, maybe you can still swing it. Some hella
Crazy.
silent shit.
Yeah, I know, huh? Boyan Slat. No, that one's not taken. Jesus Christ. Yeah, music. Let me look up Lingua Ignota. See if she's got some shows coming up or something.
Yeah,
Oh, of course she doesn't.
Yeah, well, whatever. And I'm just gonna go with the people that you said you enjoyed. Actually, I have a guy. I'm gonna do.
This is a Lingua Ignota shirt, dude.
Um,
She's fucking badass. She's so sick. Go and hide yourself. It says on the sleeve. On the day of my wrath. She's so fucking dope, dude. And I think that was like the name of her second to latest album. She does throat music with like heavy metal, like just sound music, you know.
Fuck yeah.
Kristen Hayter is her name.
You'll have to show me after.
I didn't know she was American. I thought she was like German or something.
Okay.
But Kristen Hayter is an American classically trained multi-instrumentalist, originally from Southern California and currently residing in Rhode Island. In 2017, she self-released two albums, Let the Evil of His Own Lips Cover Him and All Bitches Die, under the moniker Lingua Ignota, was the second album. And she's so fucking badass. I met her once in Oakland with my buddies. We went to go see her. And another t-shirt I have, The Body, they were a good band. I'll shout them out another day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the Oakland, I think it's like a ABC. Oh no, it's not. Showroom. Yeah, ABC Oakland Showroom, I believe is what it was called, and you can go see some pretty cheap shows.
Nice.
Who's your band?
I'm gonna say some guy I found. He played in SF a while back. I didn't actually go see him, so I'm kind of lame. But his name's Phum Vim Prit, Phum, first name, and then V. Actually, no, that's his nickname, but whatever. That's how he goes by, Phum Vim Prit, and then last name Viphurit. He's a Thai singer-songwriter. But no, his music's super. It's like chill and fun and just relaxing. And just something you probably won't find on your own,
Cool.
you know? So
I know, I would
that's
never
the
find-
point of it,
And
you
it
know?
is really great music. I loved it. It's a lot like the Yellow Days stuff. Very jazzy, but very cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fuck yeah.
Anything else you want to shout them out with? Any not shows, I guess, but albums.
I don't.
It is 46. Got 4 minutes. While you're typing, I'm just gonna say follow our new YouTube page. We finished the process of getting it finalized and what is it called, authorized or
Verified.
and it's the Off Track and all caps podcast. And
Yeah.
we have our cool picture here. We'll get a new one going. It's a cool graphic from the software.
Yes.
I enjoy it. It's kind of cool. We got 3 videos up. Please go check them out.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, thanks for talking, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're getting better, huh?
Yeah.
Good shit.
Hell yeah.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out. We don't got reviews today.
That's okay. I don't know where mine is actually. I think I lost it. I think I'm down.
I'm gonna go pick up Rainy.
Oh.
Rainy Poo! Rainy Poozies! Maybe we could do a quick video with her tomorrow.